Anishinaabe people. We wish to recognize the long history of Indigenous people of Canada and show our respect to them today. We recognize their stewardship of the land. May we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship. I'm not aware of any declarations of pecuniary interest this morning. If there is any, please let me know, but I think we can skip over that. I'm also not aware of any delegations this morning. So we can go right to the minutes from our last meeting, which hopefully everybody's had a chance to review. I took a look at them. I didn't see anything that was that I didn't think was discussed. Could I get a mover and a seconder to accept those minutes? You'll have to unmute to say.
John is giving a thumbs up. I don't know if that means he's
Okay.
approving.
Brad, could you second the minutes?
I've read them. I can second them. I wasn't there though, so.
Okay. Yeah, and so all in favor, and I'm going to assume, I can't see everybody, but I'm assuming that's passed. I don't think there was any business directly arising from those minutes. If there was, then I'm sure it's covered in Lisa's materials and reports. There was the marketing and budget related items, which I know we'll be discussing. So as usual, Lisa, we can probably hand it right over to you and get going on that.
Okay, thank you very much. So I had the coordinator's report and the coordinator's email. A lot of my focus has been on drafting the marketing plan, the budget, and getting ready for the holiday season. So I can just quickly update first on the holiday season. This is not our event, but just a reminder that the Chamber Parade will be held on November 27th. It's a drive-through parade. We are helping in sense that we're loaning some of our wooden tree and candy cane decorations just for along the drive through the parade. But that's all that we need to do, and we will be promoting it as well. The Deck the Halls weekend is the same weekend. So that's going to be held from November 25th to 27th. We're promoting that. We're asking our businesses to have some sales, just to maybe decorate for the season. We've got a Facebook page to post sales and anything happening that weekend. It's going to be advertised through the banner, through the radio, the Ranch and Blackburn Radio. That's going to kind of kickstart our holiday season, as well as our decorations. I did go slightly over budget on the decorations, but I took that money from meetings that we didn't have, and I didn't need to use that budget. So I think I was budgeted around 7,000, and I'm going to come in around 8. With that $8,000, we have replaced all the ribbon on all the wreaths. They were all very faded. We're done all but 10. We've had several meetings. They look beautiful. It's very labor intensive to replace all those ribbons. Bill is going to start decorating on the 12th. The day after Remembrance Day. I will be helping to take the banners down to put up our holiday ones from the Remembrance Day ones. And hydro, pending no weather issues like last year, will be coming on the 15th to put up our wreaths. So our hope is for the first weekend to have the listable signs, the wreaths, the banners, and hopefully the roundabout tree done for that weekend, or the first couple days. But for everything to be done by the 25th, 26th, in time for the Deck the Halls and Parade weekend. We are going to also kick off that weekend with a selfie contest. We are going to use our bench that we bought last year or the year before. I'm drawing a blank. It's all COVID friendly. And we'll be asking people to send us pictures of themselves on the bench. That's in lieu of Santa. And we'll be giving out gift cards to local businesses of their choice instead of shop dollars this year. So we'll do that. Yeah, there's a picture there. We'll do that randomly throughout the month. But if it's going really well, because that decoration actually stays up past Christmas, I'll extend it into January because it is a fun thing. And last year I had people sending me pictures without a contest, so I'm really hoping people get into it. The community decorating contest, I've pretty much got it all set up to go. Enter to win by the 13th of December. Judging will take place on the 14th and 15th at night, and the winner will be announced on the 16th. The listable banner holiday book of savings is going out November 18th. We've got a few things that we're advertising in it. And then the business decorating contest, enter to win by December 3rd, but I'm going to start pushing that sooner. Businesses don't like to send me pictures. They're happy for me to do it. So I'll be going around and signing up businesses and taking pictures. Judged by the community December 9th to 12th, and then judging will take place on the 14th, and we will announce a winner on the 14th or 15th. Just really depends on when the judges. We're going to be advertising in the banner, the ranch, Blackburn Radio, our website, social media, and the chamber sign, and everything's going fairly well, so I'm pleased with where we are at. Oh, and we were also in the community connections that goes out to lots of people's homes. And Nicole, I think Alexander, who works at the municipality, suggested that I put it on the community calendar, which I hadn't done before. So it's also there so that when people go onto our website, they can see events happening. So that's where we are for that. Are there any questions before I move on? Okay, so the budget, and I realized when I sent it out that it says 2021 on the top, but it's 2022. Hopefully people can see that. After talking to Scott and getting some feedback at the last meeting, I decided to keep it at the same as last year, at the 119,300. We still have a lot of businesses that are struggling, and so this is a way for us not to add more than what they already paid last year. So I did decrease a few things and increased a few things, but overall it stays pretty similar. Sponsorships, we took a few things out. The banners, I feel like the 4,000 is more than we needed, but I just want to be safe. This way, the 3,500 reflects that I help out. So I've been going out every time, but if there's ever a time that I can't, or the time that they want to go doesn't work, then I just wanted to have a little room there. Also, they have purchased a truck, which will make it easier. It will actually lift them up right out the banner instead of having to use ladders. So I just don't know the time commitment from them. And then I took a little bit out of community event and I put that money into wages and benefits. And wages and benefits reflects my pension, my part-time benefits, my wages, EI, WSIB, anything like that. So that is a slight increase of cost of living and then the benefits. So are there any questions or discussions? Scott and I are presenting this, I think at the end of the month to council. So we really do need to come to some agreement today.
Does anyone have any comments or concerns about what Lisa's presented? As she noted, I've taken a look at it. We've gone back and forth a couple times. I didn't really have any major concerns, just some things I highlighted and she addressed. But if anyone else has any questions or comments, now's the time. Okay, not hearing any ears.
I think it looks good to me. I'll accept.
Okay.
Do we want to put a motion then for it, Scott?
Yeah, I just was, did Sean put something on the chat or?
I think Sean motioned to accept.
Okay, so should we get a motion from Sean? I need a seconder, which I assume will be,
Yeah. I'll
Pratt.
second it.
And then all in favor of that? That will be passed. Okay, so Lisa, you and I will present that to council. Pat, do we know the date when that's going forward by chance?
Yeah, we do know the date.
Maybe Wednesday, the 24th, maybe, of November? Does that sound right?
I have it in my calendar. I'll just bring it up.
It's a Wednesday.
Yes, the 24th of November. So what will happen now is I will send, Becky from finance sent me a spreadsheet that I have to input. So I'll put all these numbers into that and then I'll develop an actual presentation with Scott that we'll present on the 24th. I don't anticipate, since we're not increasing our budget, there being any concerns, but of course, if there are, then we'll bring them back to the board at our next meeting. Okay, did we finish that motion, Pat? Sorry, I didn't know if we did an all in favor. I missed it.
Yes, I believe that no one was opposed.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So now I have the draft 2022 marketing plan. I'll highlight some of the changes. Some of it is very similar. First, obviously, the overall budget did go down in the marketing, but not in the advertising and marketing piece. We kept that the same. Just a slight reduction in community events and sponsorships. So we're still at $20,000 of our budget to go to marketing and advertising. For Patty Fest, we got rid of some paper print advertising, and we're going to focus more on supporting and just advertising through our own means, with social media, radio as part of our packages already, the chamber sign, which is part of our package already. And I'm hoping to bring back Phil Main for a live contest, which is also already part of our radio package of about $6,000 through Blackburn Radio. And we'll put the banners up again. We didn't do that last year with COVID. They weren't really doing much. I've noticed that they're starting to do a few events and advertise a few events already that aren't for Patty Fest. So I'm hoping that we'll actually be able to do something for Patty Fest this year. If we go, we've added the summer concert with Sarah Pratt. That was so well received, even during COVID. And I'm hoping to have it on a day where maybe businesses are opened a little bit later, encourage people to go out for dinner, do some shopping before, make it more of a day event, and then end with the concert at the park. Not much change in the general summer. Business Excellence Awards are there again. The Aspire to Inspire, they are hoping it will come back in the fall this year. And we would be sponsoring the business of the Year, Woman of the Year. So we would link it directly to businesses. The listable holiday promotions, I want to expand the selfie contest, and I'm going to talk to you about that when I talk about a grant. So we'll see if I get the grant, and if I do, that will be very exciting. But I want to make it more of a station, not just our bench, maybe where it says like listable, BIA, like almost like a frame. I've got some really cool ideas. So that's kind of new in there. And then continue to sponsor, do ads, advertising. So that is the plan in general. Are there any questions, concerns, anything people would like to see added or don't like? If not, this is what I will move forward with.
Again, any questions or concerns, now's the time. Because this will set the framework for Lisa going forward. Not hearing or seeing any. I assume we should do a motion on that as well. So if I could get a mover and a seconder on the marketing plan that Lisa's prepared.
I'll move on. I'll second the plan.
Okay. And all in favor?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, I missed the seconder
So-
there.
I think Matt motioned and
Matt?
I second, Brad second.
Thank you.
Okay, so I talked about expanding the selfie program, and I was made aware through Kim about Main Street Community Activator grant. This is a grant that's being offered both this year and next year. It would be next year that I would be applying to, and it's focuses on events or updates to the community, anything that can kind of help the community. And one of the focuses is on events that are short term, or some beautifications, different things like that. And when I'm reading through the grant, I attended a workshop to make sure I was reading it right and understanding it right. And I confirmed in that workshop that holiday decorations are eligible through this grant. It's the first time I've seen a grant that holiday decorations are eligible. So that got me excited in the, right away. The other thing is they're allocating 25% of the money they're giving to communities under 100,000, which doesn't often happen. Again, so those were the two things. And so I kind of have a thought to expand our decorating in terms of not necessarily adding places, but making better some of the places that we have. And one of the thoughts, if we did increasing some of our decorations with an event, I think that would be a really good bid for a grant. So what I was wanting to do is apply for about 50,000. The other thing about this grant that's really nice is that it's 100%. So we don't have to contribute half or a third. It's, if you get the grant, you get the full amount, and you have to spend the money in the calendar year that you apply. There's a tree that I would really like to get. It is $27,000. There's some trees that I want as part of the selfie area. They're about $6,000. And there's a selfie frame that I would like, and it's about $5,000. So when I do all the math, just for decorations, I get to about $49,000. What I want to do is maybe have it like a tree lighting ceremony with maybe a carol sing. So talking potentially to the Canettes who used to do carol-alongs with the library. Maybe having this tree at the municipal building like we always have, moving the ones that we had there somewhere else. The selfie location, we'd have to present, I think we'd have to present that to council, because I'm thinking where I have the bench would be a really good spot. I would just want to make sure that that was okay. So this is all contingent on, of course, getting the grant, but I think it's worth trying. And I would write it and then maybe just ask Kim or someone from the municipality to take a quick look at it, make sure that they think it looks okay. I just wanted to ask what people thought, if there's any concerns, because it does take time. And I would be doing that in January, which I think is a good time to do, particularly since I'm going to talk about not moving forward with when this is next. Are there any questions, thoughts? What do people think? Is it worth? It's really competitive, so we might not get it, but I think it's worth trying.
It's Carolyn here. I definitely think it's worth trying. I think it's a really good idea.
Thank you. And I specifically asked in the workshop I took what they thought, and they thought it was a great application idea. So the reason it opens up in December, but that's really tight for me. So you have till January 31st. So I'd reach out to the Canettes now and just try to get my ducks in a row and then write it when I get back from Christmas, after Christmas.
Todd, go ahead.
No concerns?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I'm going to raise an alternative idea, perhaps, and I don't want to sound like Scrooge, Lisa. So I have to be careful what I say. I have no issue with the holiday season being appropriately supported as we have historically done. But I find myself thinking a little bit more about permanent installations in our downtown and in our business district. And I suppose this is prompted by a recent overnight vacation. I apparently don't get very many vacations to Aurelia, which has a fascinating streetscape and all kinds of permanent installations, which make the main streets in Aurelia quite vibrant. All of that work seemingly has been done by their BIA. And I therefore find myself concerned about a $50,000 investment in sort of holiday stuff, when in fact we might get further ahead if we did some permanent installations and actually created more charm in our downtown business area on a more permanent basis.
Just out of curiosity, Todd, do you have examples? Like what
I
you
have
call a permanent?
Yeah, I have a number of photographs that I took from Aurelia, which I can circulate after this meeting. But I think, they have had contests which involve the art community, contributions from the arts community locally. They have a range of things that they've done. Yeah, some are the Leacock chairs that were decorated by different artists and sponsored by businesses even. They have a very interesting collection there of VW, the hippie vans that are all decorated and so forth, that are permanently mounted in their streets. They have a number of maple leafs that have been permanently mounted and decorated in interesting ways. I'm sure that we could come up with listicle approaches. Among the things that I thought about certainly were hockey silhouettes or agricultural implements. There are different things that could be done, and I'm sure that most of you have better ideas than I do on that front. But the opportunity to sort of dress up the streetscape in downtown Listowel in particular on a more permanent basis sure does make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I'd certainly like to see some examples after the meeting, so.
Yeah,
And
so
can do.
I was thinking of the more events and activities application, which is short, limited, or repeated duration to draw visitors during a specific time. Um, there are community improvements, that is an option, above grade improvements to a specific geographic area that will enhance its physical and visual appeal. Um, the reason I was thinking about the decorations is some of our decorations are really old. The trees are getting old. This year we're not putting up our trees that we normally do at the listable signs because they're just done. And this would just be an easier way for me to replace some of the things that, you know, there's an expectation now that they're there and that we are decorating. My sense is, and Kim maybe might know, that you can apply for more than one. So if we were feeling like we wanted to apply for both, I do think, because I probably will not be doing Win the Space after we talk, that there is an opportunity for me to do 2 applications and see what we get. But of course, I would need to have direction from the board. But if we met and, you know, if Todd sent that stuff out and there was a little bit of email dialogue and then we met in January, I'm sure I could have enough time to put something together. The issue is getting the quotes and the stuff that you need to apply. It's not just simply I want $50,000. Like I'm for the holiday one, I have to give exact costs of all these decorations and my staff time cost, and so it's just making sure I have enough time where I'm very confident I could do the holiday one. But I'm definitely not opposed to looking at both options.
Why don't you just give an update on the Win the Space then, Lisa, and maybe then we can circle right back to this right after so people know what you're thinking
Sure.
about it.
Sure. So I met with Libro in a phone meeting, explained our situation and that in Listowel we have been very fortunate that we don't actually have a lot of space. I think we have one real storefront right now that is available downtown where, just as an aside, where it takes the villages, there's a spa going in there. The Asian market filled the old jam can place. A blind place went where the Asian market was. Bar Burritos opening November 8th. We've just been really fortunate, and I explained that to them. I also explained the concerns of putting all that money into a new business when we've had businesses that have had to go through COVID and are struggling. And they agreed that probably when we got Win the Space, it made sense, but it probably doesn't make sense now. So then I asked them about the money, and they would prefer that I present to them a couple of ideas of how we could use the money instead of giving it back, which I was very excited about. Talked about some different ideas at $7,500. But basically, he said for me to present to the board this option and then to present back to him in an email of some ideas to use the money so that we can keep it and not have to give it back, which is really exciting and generous of Libro to do that. So one of the ideas that I had was help with marketing. You know, I do the best I can, but I'm not a professional. If we could, you know, hire someone like Off the Lens that could help us put really nice marketing materials together, whether that's social media, print, help with our website, that promotes, you know, the community. He seemed very open to that. One of the other things I'm wondering is about the memory lane. We can go to that as well. Putting a little bit of money into memory lane so that we're not using our own, because beautification downtown does help all of downtown. And I had budgeted to do that anyways. And I've made some headway with the businesses and the municipality on memory lane, in that it looks like we can get the facade improvement if we get the application in. Really good chance of getting that. And then the municipality is covering some of the cost, and each of the businesses would be covering some of the costs. So it's about a $12,000 project to bring back memory lane to what it can be and should be. So we could look at putting a little bit of money to help with that project, because it is not something that businesses need to keep. It is something that I think we should keep. It is part of our history. And so if we put in a little, they put in a little, the municipality puts in a little, and the facade puts a little, I think we could tell the Win the Space people that it helps the community by having that, because everyone goes through that now from parking to get to downtown. So those were kind of the things I was playing with. I didn't know if anyone else had any ideas. I do want to get back to them this month, because I do feel it's very generous, and we need to use that money. Once we kind of have a consensus of what to do, then I need to go back to the other businesses, or sorry, organizations that have already given us money as well. I did talk to one of the business organizations, and he seemed in agreement that now is not the time to do Win the Space. But I would like to go back to him and say that Libro has given us the money. This is what we're doing with it. Would you consider letting us keep the money as well? There's 3 organizations that I would need to do that too. So that's where I'm at. I don't know if anybody's writing anything in the chat. I wasn't looking. I don't see anything. So the chamber recently hired Off the Lens to help them with a shop local dollar drive. The work is beautiful. It's very well done. They're putting a plan together. We had Off the Lens come and speak. They know their stuff. It's local. I think it would be very helpful for me to have some support and some guidance, because like I said, I'm not an expert, but if people think there's better ideas, I'm all ears.
I think if we're going to offer that out, that should go to tender of some sort, to say
Sure.
you give to one person, because we keep on bringing up one name, is wrong. But I also would like to maybe explore what we could do for some of the merchants, or I don't know, like I know the chamber did an award, but like a resiliency award of somebody that, I don't know if it's the hospitality industry, the spa industry, but anybody that's been really hit by COVID that still went over and beyond, because you still, out of your package, you have $2,500 from Blackburn that the Win the Space person would get. So it'd be nice, and I would match that, if we found somebody that it's a restaurant that went over and beyond, that helped people when they were hurting themselves. We give them a little influx of something, or we do give that back to the businesses that, there's a lot of businesses that did very well during COVID, but there are some that went through hell too. So I'd like to see if we could support them in a manner than just helping a building landlord improve his building.
I think it's a good idea, Lisa. As far as off the lens goes, I hear what Nick says about wanting to get, good value for money, but I gotta be honest, I would be opposed to spending BIA money to hire someone that is not local.
Right.
If there's another local firm, that's fine. I got no issues with that, but I would not be prepared to go outside of the local community.
We offer full social media, we offer billboards, we offer print, we offer video production as well. That's one reason I said it.
Gotcha.
But then it's also kind of contradicting what we just did in the last session there, where we cut the paper's budget, and we didn't cut, that is a BIA member, and we didn't cut Blackburn, that is non-BIA member.
Pickup, I missed that. And I was not aware, as I said, I don't know who does the social media in town. So
No, and that's why I think we don't know. So if we put it out there to a tender, we have a process, then we have a rating system that we want. So much is weighted by where you're located or your value in the community, and your portfolio, and then pricing. We have a metrics, but we don't know what we have until we cast the net out and see what is actually out there. There could be somebody that freelances a lot at home for a major corporation that we have no idea about as well, but they are local.
Right, and off the lens just was an idea. I wasn't saying specifically them. I was just giving an example of someone I know that's local, that ish, like they are out of Stratford, which is Perth County. It was just the idea of getting some help with social media. I would have no problem with taking it out to tender at all. I'm just looking for ideas, but I do like the resiliency idea as well. I think that's a really neat idea. I definitely think we could do that as well. Just looking for that kind of feedback.
Todd, go ahead.
Thanks. Lisa, what kind of timeline are you on with Libro? Like, are they chomping at the bit to hear what the ideas are, or do we have the space of another meeting, possibly? Because I'm wondering if we shouldn't sort of allow for intelligent input, and sort of forcing that at a meeting can be a little bit too rapid. I would be a lot more supportive of a process wherein this board and its members and friends of the BIA, including members, have the opportunity to suggest ways that these funds could be appropriately leveraged to the benefit of the community.
I think the idea was to give them some thoughts this year. We don't have another meeting scheduled for this year, but it's not to say I couldn't go back to them and ask them to give us till January. I could definitely ask.
To me, I think that a little bit of you know, thoughtful pause and generating those ideas from amongst the membership is valuable, and it might even spark some things that you know, we've had due notice of this meeting, certainly, and we've seen the agenda for this meeting, but sometimes it takes a little more time than that to percolate ideas. And now that sort of I'm aware that there's this opportunity, I'd rather have a little bit of thought time rather than trying to rush it at this meeting.
Do you have any kind of information as to what some of the businesses have been talking about that they're struggling with, that they may need assistance with, or whether it's staffing or whether it is advertising, promotion, or do you have any idea what the BIA members have been struggling with?
I would say staffing is definitely one of them. It's everywhere. I mean, right now with some of the government programs, people are staying home. They're not going to work. it's hard to get part-time staff even. Another big issue is people are just not shopping as much or eating out as much as in the past. Like when COVID first happened, people were really supporting and going out, but we're still having a harder time getting people into the building sometimes, particularly some of the restaurants. People are still hesitant to be out and about a lot. There's a lot of people that are thrilled about it, but there's people that are still very nervous about it. So that's what I'm kind of hearing. I don't know if anyone's hearing different things, but
Just trying to see if there's any other ideas that can maybe spur some creativity with some of the board that can see something else that might be an advantage to some of the BIA members that they would really benefit from.
yeah, recruiting is definitely tough right now. And just you know, making people feel like come shop with us. So the advertising, the promotions, letting people know we're open. Restaurants are, I think, are still struggling to get people inside a lot. Not all, but there are some. Then you have, and I don't really like to talk about it, but the vaccine passports cause some tensions. There's people that think businesses are doing enough and some that think they're not doing enough, and people are mad, are frustrated. We have businesses that are called and said, are you mandating vaccine passports? And then if they say no, people are upset about that. If they say yes, people are upset about that. So I don't know if any of that will trickle down and stop once the vaccine passport is no longer required, but I do know that has been talked about. There's some businesses that maybe aren't following it as much as others. So that can be frustrating to the businesses that are. Yeah.
Okay, well, might give a few ideas just to think about. So I guess if anybody thinks of anything very creative, to probably have to let Lisa know as soon as possible. So
Kim,
I'm in agreement with one of the. Sorry, it's Carolyn here. I'm in agreement with one of the previous comments that I do need a little bit of time to think of ideas. I have a hard time kind of coming up with them on the spot. But yeah, I'll circle back with you, Lisa. Just give me a day or two just to kind of percolate some stuff in my brain.
Sounds good.
Kim, go ahead.
Just a suggestion, as Todd had mentioned, some communities are doing more, I know events and festivities are kind of mixed as far as whether they people are interested in doing that, but that might be something with those funds that was really drew attention. When the space program, that was one benefit of it, is it really did draw promotion to Listowel in general, beyond the space filling itself. So having some type, like beyond the marketing or photos or that kind of an emphasis, maybe an option would be to host something similar to like the placemaking idea or the installation that is being considered for the Activator project with my Main Street. So I'm sure that would align with the goals of Libro for the program. So I would just, be creative in what you're thinking about, just as an opportunity for the BIA locally to help to stimulate that interest in placemaking for Listowel.
Maybe some things to also, something else would be to facilitate, any local people that are looking for jobs, easy connection within the community for jobs as well, or promotion of something that does that for us currently. So, or job fair or something like that. So,
I think this, if I might jump in, Mr. Chair, I think this sort of speaks to my original notion that perhaps we need just a little bit more time to think about this, and it would be appreciated if we could have a little bit of space for the opportunity to think about it. Again, I don't know whether Libro will wait till our next meeting, so maybe Lisa needs to check and communicate the results of that check to us. But if not, then maybe we can engage in some sort of email dialogue to exchange our ideas about the opportunities presented by this generosity from Libro.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, I think that is maybe the consensus. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Lisa, if you're okay with going back to Libro and just asking them if they'll give us to January.
Yeah, I can ask.
But this only works if the board provides Lisa with some ideas and she gets some concrete feedback on some ideas and where we go from here and stuff. So we don't want to come back in January and have the same discussion over again. We need some ideas. We need some thought put into this so we can take advantage of the money that's being offered. So I'm okay with that, Lisa, as long as you are. We can shelve the win this space, but everyone's got some homework to do on this item and get back to her.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Nick.
Just a question is, I don't know if you guys have ever done it. Is there a way that we could say, think for the next 2 weeks, we have a deadline of submitting our ideas to Lisa, and then could we do an email poll of our top 2 and then kind of like streamline waiting till the next meeting? Is that something we could do? Like set a deadline, okay, we got to have all of our ideas to Lisa by X date. And then are we able to do a voting on what kind of, like, have her narrow it down to the 3 that she thinks that would be the pigeonhole to what Libro would like, or do we pitch the top 3 to Libro and let them decide, or is there a way of expediting another full couple months of waiting? Is all I was just kind of wondering. I agree we should think about it. I think a 2-week thinking, kind of brainstorming should be more than generous, because then we're going to forget about, it's going to get on the back burner for all of us. But I didn't know if there was a way that we could expedite it a little bit with the use of technology.
I think that's a good idea. I'd have to defer to Pat maybe a little bit about what we can and can't do outside of a board meeting. But I suspect we can do an email discussion like has been suggested, and maybe Lisa could keep a running tally of the comments that come in and then present them back to everyone. And we just respond that way. Alex?
Yeah.
Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I mean, we are about to have Christmas and New Year. Aren't we losing the opportunity to actually benefit and draw people from outside to Listowel during these times by using this money before Christmas or before the New Year, not after? Because I can see many people coming to Listowel even to visit me from Toronto. There is not really much places where I can take my friends, like during the evenings. Not even, we can put some decorations, we can activate some, I don't know, hashtag where you have to circulate your pictures and, and put hashtag on Listowel, something of that sort. Or maybe like tiny Christmas market with hot mulled wine. And I can see people coming here, especially if it is advertised at least on a Snapchat and TikTok. I'm wondering, like, why wouldn't we try to use that fund before the new year? Why are we pushing so far?
Alex, we have a few of those things you're already talking about happening. Like we are going to be doing the decorating that people can walk through and see and participate in. We are going to be doing the picture snapshot starting November 25th. So we have a lot of programs running from now till the end of the year. And to be honest with you, like I cannot add another thing to my list and actually do it effectively. I'm part-time and I'm maxed out to get done what I've already presented. So it and some of these things would take some time to plan and organize to do them well. And I'd rather hold the money for next year and make sure that whatever we do with the money, it's a really well thought out program. And I'm sensing that the members would like to think about different ideas, which I'm very comfortable with. So from a work perspective, I really feel confident that I could not pull something off that would be at the level we would want.
Well, last question on the on this topic for me is when we're thinking of ideas, what monetary value? Like we said, the 7,500, but then there's some other partners. Is there are we just thinking about the 7,500, or is there something, a ballpark? I mean, I know we still have to see what the other partners say, but is there a ballpark of what we should be dreaming or thinking of? I mean, I don't want to think too little or too big, and then we get some great ideas, but we can't execute them.
I think I don't know what the other partners are thinking. If they all let us keep the money, it would be about $11,000. But I don't know. I can't speak for them yet because I really wanted to start with Libro. So I would say if we went above the 7,500 and none of the other people wanted to go in, then we'd have to go into our reserves.
That's fair. At least it gives us a starting base point and kind of range.
Yeah. And I'm not opposed to that if you guys wanted to do that. I mean, for Win the Space, we were using our own, we were going into our reserves to do some extras as well. So I'm definitely not opposed to that. I think if someone can come up with an idea and it's 10,000, I don't think Libra would have a problem with that either, right? So yeah.
It's Carolyn here. What I can do is once I have some power back here in Wingham, I can dig out what Libro's pillars are. We have pillars around housing, food resiliency, employment, and the other one escapes me right now, I'm sorry, but I can send those details out to the board, and that may help percolate some ideas as to what we like to focus on when we hand out grant money. Would that be of help?
I think that'd be a great benefit for Lisa, just so we're not kind of barking up the wrong tree and presenting an idea that's not acceptable. So
Yeah.
Okay. Let me, once I have power, I'll send those out. And yeah.
If I might, Mr. Chair, I'll just jump in and say that I think whatever process we agree to, whether it's a 2-week shortened process as suggested by Nick, which I think is prudent anyway, even if we have to wait till decision making till another meeting, or whether it's beyond that. I think the idea that in the aftermath of this meeting, Lisa consolidates information, some of which comes from Libro, and sends all of us as directors an email inviting our participation in this idea generation activity is probably the right step forward.
Yeah, I agree 100%, Todd. I was going to suggest that either an email will come from myself or from Lisa, just outlining what we're looking for from each board member. It'll note the prospective budget with the caveat that if we wanted to pull from reserves, we could do that as well, because that may be, after hearing that being said, I think that may be palatable to Libro, that if we're willing to put in some of our own money and they give us some money, that we could do a bigger project. It's just an idea. I like that idea as well. So Yeah, I think an email from myself or Lisa will come today or tomorrow, and it'll set a deadline. I wrote down November 19th maybe is a deadline, and we just lay out the parameters and we get the board members to do some work on this, if everyone's okay with that. Okay. So that kind of shelves that one for right now, Lisa, the win the space topic.
Okay.
Do we need to go back to the Main Street community, like the grant program? I know you've got the one you want to apply for the Christmas ideas, and you've got budgets, which makes the writing of that one easier. But you've got a request or a thought from some board members about seeking some other monies, but we need physical things to quote on, right? Is that the issue?
Well, we need a concrete idea as well, kind of similar to this. If I'm going to apply for a grant, I need to understand what it is the board is thinking. Like, I saw the pictures that Todd sent in the chat. Is that what the rest of the board is interested and wants? Is that, you know, where would we put it or do it? It's a little more complicated than the decorations. I'm happy to look at that and consider it. I just need also some direction on that as well.
And that's end of January, right? That has to be submitted by?
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe just a suggestion, maybe we include that in the email as well. And I can help you draft it. Just include a request from board members to put some thought to that. We've got some pressing things here that we need to address and get done. So I think we can do that. I'm seeing some nods, so hopefully everyone's in agreement. But I think the Christmas one, in my opinion, is a no-brainer. Like, you've got to apply for that. You've already got the budget numbers worked out. You know what you're looking for, and you've got some good ideas about it. So if the board members are in support of at least applying for that, we should go ahead with that and then do the second one if at all possible, because we should apply for as much as we can naturally, with the hopes that we can.
Yeah. And just to give a sense, the applications are as low as 25,000, as high as I think it's 200,000. So there is room. I was going with something that I thought was reasonable and obtainable, because one of the things is it's great to get $200,000 worth of decorations, but you also have to have places to put them and staff to put them up and places to store them. So I thought the $50,000 range for what I wanted, I felt was reasonable, something we could do.
Kim, go ahead.
Sorry, I just wanted to add that Lisa and I had chatted a little bit about this idea. And one of the things I think, I mean, she's taking advantage of the opportunity to replace some of the decor that needs to be replacing, but it's also potentially an improvement. Looking for more like winter season, trying to expand the use beyond Christmas. So as she said, like it's trees, it's not specifically for Christmas, so that, I mean, although it would be nice to have other ideas that would be benefit, like that would see as a bigger impact potentially, that it could be into the slower season in January, February, March. And maybe emphasizing more of that in some of the marketing so that it could continue to be, I think that would be a bigger, like an impact and benefit to the business community, while also serving to replace the current decor. So I think that was an area I found interesting, was the chance to help it extend into the slower season. Sorry,
Yeah,
that's just a little bit of an
yeah,
element.
no, thanks, Kim. I appreciate that, because we did talk about that, because all the decorations that I've picked are winter. They're not Christmas or Hanukkah, or they're specific for the winter season. And I know come January things slow down. That's why I picked the winter bench I picked, because it can stay up flat past Christmas. So thanks, Kim. I did I did forget that that was one of my thinkings and that I have written down as a start of the grant. So thanks, Kim. I appreciate that. So I'm getting the sense that move forward with that grant application, get feedback on the other two options, one for something that's more permanent, similar to what Mayor Todd talked about, and then also get feedback on what to do with the $7,500 from Libro. That Carolyn will send me some information, and then Scott and I will develop something. We'll give a couple weeks for you guys to give me some ideas, and then I can maybe put that into some kind of doc and some kind of voting system to get it maybe down to 3 that we can work with and move forward with. And I will ask Libro for till January that this is our plan. I think because I'm presenting a plan and it's reasonable that they will be open to that and not have a problem with it. If that is not the case and they do want an answer by the end of this year, I will circle back to everybody.
All agreed. So I assume we need a motion for Lisa to proceed with the grant. Brad, do you have a comment?
No, I'll motion for to proceed with that portion of the grant. So
It's Carolyn. I can second that.
All in favor on that particular item? Okay, that's carried. And we'll circle back on the rest of the stuff and get an email out to the group.
Okay, so the only thing left to talk about is memory lane. I've met with the municipality, Chris, and I've met with the business owners, and I've talked to Lee, who has now left but was in charge of the Facade program. Memory lane is something that was there prior to the current business owners. They have maintained the building, but it's the memory lane and the beautification of that alley that I'm looking to support, particularly the art piece, the old pictures, and the actual thing that says memory lane. This was put in by volunteers, I think 40 years ago. The building has been maintained by the owners, the brick, all the stuff that they need to do. The one owner just did major work to the side of the building. It's more the memory lane that I'm looking for support. It is about a $12,000 project. The municipality has committed to doing the wiring and the stuff that keeps the birds out. The facade improvement would hopefully cover about $5,000. And then the business owners have committed to helping as well. That was something that you said that you wanted me to look at. I had budgeted for this year to spend about $1,500 to help maintain the art piece of it and to bring it back with a little paint and just some things. And so I've now gone back, like you asked, and got commitment from the owners to also cover. So that's where I'm at. I think that this is historic to the community. This is something that everyone coming downtown pretty much uses now to get from the parking to downtown. And that's kind of where I'm at.
Just to be clear on my part, no financial contribution from the BIA then, or there is a financial?
It would be about 1,500 of the $12,000 project. And our part would be more focusing on the historic piece of the beautification of the art, and the memory lane aspect, not on the building and fixing the building, because that is not what this is about.
Are you completing the facade improvement grant applications or the property owners, the building owners?
We're working on it together. But it would be their application. I'm assisting them, but it would be their application.
Thoughts from anybody on that?
Confirm our contribution is $1,500. That's it.
Yes.
Then I'm fine with it.
And it really, I've taken pictures. I can send them to you guys. It's really fixing the history piece. It's not fixing the building. I can be very clear on that. And both businesses are contributing so as well, and have agreed to that with meetings with Chris Snell and myself.
That gives me a much better comfort level, but I don't want to speak for
Yeah.
everybody else or try and sway the vote. Alex, go ahead.
Yeah, I do remember our last meeting, there was a big discussion about who the owner was, and that was a big issue who actually going to do it. So I'm glad that we actually found owners, the businesses who actually going to do that. I'm happy about that, but still I do think we shouldn't be tapping into that, especially hearing all the morning that there is not enough funds for basically many things. So why don't we allocate this 1,500 to something that we really need right now and leave it that to the municipality and the building owners to actually invest a little bit more. That's not much we are asking. Thank you.
And I do hear that, but I also think that part of our mandate is beautification. Todd was talking about permanent beautification. I think this is a perfect example of that. And I feel like this goes back 40 years of volunteers putting this in. It does make our downtown look beautiful. It's there permanently. People are walking through it. And that is part of our mandate. And the municipality has committed, the business owners have committed. There's Facade. I really do think this is a good program and project for us to support. I had budgeted for it with my beautification. And I feel like this is a win-win. The municipality has already put in some of the wiring, which is already helping in that area, because now the birds are not doing their business in that walkway for pedestrians to walk through. They're not having to have the pigeons above them. We've agreed that the walkway part is municipality, and then the walls belong to the businesses. So I do feel like we should move forward with this. I'm not often putting my thoughts out there, but I am this time, because I do feel like this fits our mandate of beautification and also helps our downtown look inviting. So I'll leave it at that and let you guys decide.
Well, I would second Matt, saying the $1,500 is not a bad investment for. I know that memory lane's been there a long time, and for the BIA, as part of the mandate to beautify the downtown, I think it's necessary. Us abandoning it would probably not look good upon us with the downtown businesses. And it does benefit some of the pedestrian traffic and help the downtown traffic. So I'll second Matt with Lisa with a 1,500 and a probably a few hours of her time to assist the building owner with an application. So.
Okay.
Scott, you're still on mute.
Thank you, sorry. So we've got a mover and a seconder. Not seeing any other discussion, I think. We want to vote on that. All in favor?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's carried. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I've got a good, I've got lots to keep me busy over the next couple months. I will contact Libra right away. I did get a sense also if I wanted to give them a couple ideas, they would take it. So if we had 3 that we liked, I can send all 3 if that's like where we get. Really, really appreciate this discussion. The only thing left is for me is to talk about next year. And how many times we want to meet and when we want to have our first meeting, and hopefully in person, but I'll let Pat talk about that.
At this time, the municipal council has not met in person, and we're trying to coordinate boards and committee meetings as well with council. A policy has come before the council as well. No decision has been made, or no policy has been approved. We certainly are hoping that in the new year, we'll be meeting in the council chambers, but all that is yet to be determined.
Okay. So basically we should plan virtual unless told otherwise, Pat?
I think that would be the best plan at this time.
Okay, perfect. So we had moved our meetings to every other month, which would mean January meeting. If everyone is feeling okay with that, my suggestion would be that we would meet January 5th or 12th, and then every other month preceding that, similar to what we were doing this year. In the email that I send out with the grant information, I could put a tentative schedule in that email if everyone was okay with that. But if we could confirm January, that would be helpful.
Fifth or 12th, anyone? I'm more of a 12th guy. Alex?
Yeah, January 12th would be best for me.
Okay. I mean, that's best for me because I am hoping to take the week before that off to be with my family. So that would make sure that I could have everything organized and ready for you guys. So if there's no objections, we'll go with January 12th. Is the second week of the month better than the first? Like I'm flexible. It doesn't matter to me. Like we haven't, typically we do the first Wednesday of the month, but are people preferring the second Wednesday based on schedules? Doesn't matter.
Doesn't
Okay.
matter.
Okay, I'll put something together with Scott and we'll send it out in an email, but let's go with January 12th as our next meeting. I'll send out an email in December just giving you guys an update. Really want to thank you for all your support and your help this year. I appreciate you guys very much, and I appreciate your feedback, and when you give me ideas and thoughts, I take a lot of value in that and what I'm doing. So thank you very much. I think that's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. We've got financial report on the agenda. I think that was just the account information that was included in the agenda for this morning. I didn't see any account information. Is there any accounts that we need to approve this morning?
I can speak to that, Scott. Unfortunately, our treasurer has not been feeling well, and we do not have anything else to provide. If there are any questions regarding what is presented, I'd be happy to take them back to the department.
I can also let you know, everyone, there's about $5,000 that's not accounted for yet. Specifically decorations, decoration time for Bill, and some more advertising that's not on here. So take that number and add about 5,000. That's kind of where we are, just so you know.
Okay, not seeing any questions or concerns about that. We can move on to the council update. So Todd, if you could give us an update, that'd be great.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So since the last meeting of the BIA, couple of things noteworthy. Some of you, of course, are quite interested in the one issue, which is the downtown traffic and parking experiment. That began in August, as you'll recall. We received a fairly comprehensive report from the consultant engineer who was involved in the traffic project a few weeks back. This included information about public inputs that had been made, and there certainly were some through both a public information center meeting and also through an online survey, which drew a certain amount of interest, agreed, and also through measures that have been established in trying to understand what good would look like if the experiment was good or successful. As a result, Council decided that it would refer a number of small adjustments, generally speaking, to staff, and then when staff had made those adjustments, brought back a report on that, which recommended the extension of this pilot project through the winter and into April, with opportunity during that extension period to conduct some more fine tuning and tweaking and collect more data about the results of those adjustments. So the current status is that Council has approved an extension to that pilot project. I know that there had been concerns from downtown merchants about parking spot removal. Not too many had been removed, but I guess it was sufficient to concern some businesses, and several of those spots now have been restored in the last couple of weeks. And I also understand that one of the parking spots for the disabled, marked for the disabled, has been shifted its direction towards the core of the downtown. It had been moved somewhat west, and I think they've moved it somewhat east again. We're listening. We acknowledge that there's a lot of sentiment from the south end of Listowel in general about this being a mistake and this complicating travel times, but the data tend to support that there is much greater flow and efficiency through the core. And while we understand that there's always a balance between public sentiment and in this case generated from the inconvenience or perceived inconvenience versus actual hard data, I think at this point Council has opted to continue the experiment, collect some more data, and see what we know about the performance of that in the spring of 2022. I can take limited questions about that at the end of this. I don't claim to be the expert. I just claim to be one who supports the notion of experimentation in government. Further to this, and sort of colliding with this from a timeline perspective, is the imminent release of the Transportation Master Plan. This is a document that has been commissioned from experts to try to figure out how we improve transportation and traffic flow in North Perth broadly. Obviously, amongst the mandates are the great interest, which is a truck bypass for downtown Listowel, and that will be addressed to some degree in this plan, but the intent is to have a comprehensive view of the work that the municipal government and other partners need to do to try to improve and plan for a much larger community. And our reality is that we're growing rapidly. We'll continue to grow rapidly based on economic projections. The Listowel of 2040 will look quite a bit different from the Listowel of 2021. So that plan is imminent. I understand there is a public information session, or essentially a public input meeting, on November 10th. If you would like to participate and hear for the first time some of the inputs and outputs from the consultants, you're all certainly welcome to attend, and information will be made available through the social media accounts of the municipality. Some of you may have also taken note of a certain amount of frustration in the community from those who are involved with minor hockey. They approached council seeking a fee reduction for arena rental fees. They were already availing themselves of reduced ice time fees. Given their circumstances, the municipality already had a policy in place that discounts things for youth leagues, and council ultimately decided that it was not in the broad community interest at this point to further reduce the ice time costs. I know that's always a tough message for people to hear, especially in this community, which has a long and rich history in hockey and ice skating as well. But you know, your council is charged with making decisions about how much taxpayers pay, and a change in the fee revenue affects how much taxpayers pay. And we are already looking with a certain amount of trepidation towards the tax increase that will be required in 2022 to maintain and sustain operations. Since that last meeting, we have provided a long runway fee increase for Perth Meadows residences. So those who are living there will see a fee increase, I believe, in May of 2022. There has been an off-road vehicle bylaw passed. This is the result of the province sort of tipping the approach to off-road vehicle management, for lack of a better term, and putting it into the municipal hands to create a relevant bylaw with regards to off-road vehicles. That seemed to be generally appreciated, actually, that bylaw. We have made a number of HR policy updates, and we will continue to. And I say this with a certain amount of respect. Just as in our community and industrial settings in particular, there are challenges in finding employees. Municipal governments will also have problems finding qualified and talented employees moving forward. And so HR policy and HR strategy is becoming increasingly important to this council to make sure that we secure an appropriate approach to human resources in the next 5 to 10 year window. And we are working on a people plan for North Perth that that will address HR considerations so that the municipal government is appropriately staffed and maintained over the longer term. We also passed a COVID-19 immunization policy that pertains to employees, councils, and boards. And it is I guess what most would call an intermediate level policy. It includes a mandate for vaccinations or testing, mandatory testing, as the choices that employees have, and outlines how the health data is stored very securely and so forth. Budget 2022 is in progress, well in progress at this point. We have passed our policy, which is sort of the framework for how we go about building the budget. And we've had our first vision meeting with council, and it was actually a really exciting and interesting meeting to hear some of the things that councillors are thinking about and hearing from their constituents. We also passed, not without some controversy, the greenhouse gas reduction plan for Perth County. Each of the municipalities in Perth County were partners in the creation of this document, and so each council was requested to pass the plan. The plan is really sort of a 10,000 foot above the ground plan. Now the real hard work begins, which is for the municipalities that are partnered to decide how they'll walk together and on what fronts they'll take their own paths. And so that work begins with you know, looming meetings amongst the stakeholders to make that work. Council also passed a proposition to secure support for the Perth County Connect transit or PC Connect transit system. You know, as that project moves forward, um, 3 of the municipalities which have this inter-county connection, so from Listowel and North Perth to Kitchener-Waterloo is one of those connections. Those inter-county connections will start to cost taxpayers of the municipalities some money, and council approved, at least at this point in time, notion that that money should be allocated in our future budgets so that we can sustain the transit system through March of 2025. And I think I'll leave to Kim Couch because she's here, perhaps mention of the priorities that were established and approved by council from the North Perth Economic Development Advisory Committee. With that, I'd be happy to take any questions or make further comments if someone wants me to add on something. Scott, are you on mute?
Stepped out, didn't he?
Scott had to step out. I think Nick's gonna take over.
Oh, okay. Nick, welcome to the chair. Anyone with questions, comments? Anyone want to lob hate mail at me or hate comments about the downtown traffic thing? Certainly, I've had my share. I've probably heard it all.
So we can move on to the next item. So I'd be honest, I don't have an agenda in front of me. I was running, so.
Then the next item is correspondence, of which we have none, Nick. So then after that would be Kim Couch's update.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks very much for the opportunity, and I do value your time. So I'm just going to hit a couple of highlights that are of most interest to the BIA. Just an update on the facade improvement program. So momentum does continue to build even as construction season is winding down. To date, there have been 6 projects approved. Budget to the overall cost was about $53,000, and so that works out to being about $26,000 that has been granted to the businesses. So we're quite pleased about that. Currently, 3 projects are in Listowel. So those have been, Listowel Chiropractic, Oak Tree Financial. Both of those are for signage, and Divine Wellness Center. So that's a new business that's going to be starting in the old It Takes Village property that will be doing some improvements there. And we also have, just for interest, 2 approved projects in Atwood. With the Atwood Food Market, they're going to be doing some significant improvements there, as well as McDonough Insurance will be doing some brickwork and siding work for repairs that are needed, and TJ Variety in Moncton. So that'll be a big impact project as well. We are expecting some additional projects in the near future, 2 possibly from Listowel, and as well as looking at the Memory Lane project. So we're really pleased with the outcome of the program in the first year. We will be proposing to council to increase or to maintain the same level of budget of $75,000 going into 2022. And just as Lisa mentioned, the CIP planner, Lee Barrich, has moved on to a planning role. The project was slated to have the 50% funding end the end of November. So we do appreciate the BIA's financial partnership in the project, and I will be covering the administration in the interim. And we, we're very pleased about that project, and we'll continue to see the benefits there. So we have been talking with Lisa, and we'll definitely support the initiatives for the application for the Activator funding, Accelerator funding. So there are two different streams of funding, and we agree that this is a really good opportunity for the BIA to take advantage of in this project. So we'll definitely be supporting with a letter or in any way that we can to help facilitate those projects. And Escape continues, continuing to promote events and activities that are available to residents and visitors into North Perth. That will be continuing to be a priority for the remainder of the year and moving forward into 2022. Also, as the mayor mentioned, we have recently had a priority setting process that has been taken to council for approval. So lots of discussion about priorities for the North Perth Economic Development Advisory Committee, and they've landed on 4 priorities, which align with some of the conversation earlier this morning. So youth retention and attraction was the #1 priority. Number 2 is connectivity to internet for all businesses. Affordable and attainable housing was number 3, and labor attraction and retention. So moving into the next meetings, we will be bringing forth further project recommendations for each of those priority areas, and recognizing a lot of those overlap many of our businesses, and we'll do what we can as we build our operation capital budgets to reflect that. And those are the highlights. Definitely reach out to me if you have questions or concerns about any of the activities that I've mentioned, or if you're curious about other activities that we're working on. I think that's all for me, just to keep it brief. Thanks.
Thanks, Kim. Does anyone have any questions for Kim before we move on? Okay, we're supposed to have a Perth County update from Ashley, but I think it might be Dustin, maybe?
It is, yes, thanks.
Justin,
yep.
Sorry, Justin.
No problem. Thanks, Lisa. Yeah, so I'll keep it very brief as well in the interest of time. So you do have the report in front of you in the package. So just a couple of things that are timely in nature. Do ask you to save the date for December the 7th. We are hosting a Perth County Business Open House. We're calling it a Discover More Resilience event at the Mitchell Golf Club. Two slots of time where you'll be able to drop in between 10 and 2 and 4 and 8. We'll be premiering our Perth County Resilience video, really is a testament to the resilience of the business community over the last year. So we've got a video presentation to help highlight that. Also an opportunity for us to put some resources directly in business hands in terms of the programs and services we're offering, and just a chance to have a safe, quick meet and mingle, and really just thank our business community for their perseverance over the last year and share some resources. So please do mark a calendar for December 7th. No RSVP required, and there will be opportunities to grab and go if you just need to stop in and get on to other things. So please mark your calendar. Our mentor meetup is more focused on and outside of Perth County audiences in terms of helping with that youth attraction. It's an opportunity for folks who are outside Perth County to find out a bit more about what there is here, using 4 local mentors who have left Perth County and come back. So just an opportunity for folks outside the region to really ask them anything about, how did you find a house? Do you have, how was access to childcare, or whatever they may have their questions. So that is on November the 16th. It's a virtual event. Discover More Adventures program. I'm sure you've hopefully seen some of those programs launching on Facebook. The most recent one that launched was the Scrapbook Shop and Argyle Wines, a Discover More adventure that was launched earlier this month, or I should say last month. Our digital transformation grant. So this is one I really wanted to highlight. So this is a $2,500 grant available through Digital Main Street Ontario to help businesses with their digital needs, whether it be a website update, assistance with marketing, implementing any kind of digital transformation plan. Obviously very critical in this COVID time and going forward. The grant had originally been scheduled to close October 31st, but they've actually extended the deadline to November the 30th. So please do encourage business to apply. I know, actually, I saw there was a good pipeline of businesses from Listowel who were in process of completing that. I think there was 8 or 9, so very good to see that. And if there are any other businesses that are interested in accessing this grant, they can find more information at the link provided, or as always, you can contact us directly. Our digital service squad team member, Eileen, is available to help them with the grant, or if they're not eligible for the grant, with any other of their digital needs. So please do reach out for Digital Service Squad beyond November 30th. But if you're interested in that grant, please encourage businesses to do so before November 30th. And just to one other last thing, I guess, is our Visions, Retention, and Expansion project. So that was our telephone survey that was going on over the last couple of months. I just wanted to thank businesses who responded to the call if they received one, and look forward to bringing the results of that survey and report back to this group at a later date. And I will probably leave it at that and welcome any questions.
So the business retention expansion project, will that, do you have a timeline when that report would be available, or?
Yeah, so it should be, we're trying to get it to council county council on the second meeting in November, which is on the 17th. So that would be the date when it would go public, and then we would be able to bring that, those results would be able to, I guess, bring brought back to this group at the January meeting.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Okay, Nick, it looks like that was it. So you can adjourn the meeting, Nick.
So we're just going to adjourn the meeting, and we're going to confirm in that the next meeting is January 12th. Is that what we're doing?
Correct.
Okay.
So do we need a motion to do that? So there's a motion from Brad and a seconder.
I can second. Carolyn.
Perfect.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the snow.
Thank you all.